Welcome to How Preschool Teachers Do It.
I'm Cynthia.
I'm Allison.
And we have a combined 55 years of experience working with children, families, and experts in early education.
We are not random influencers.
No, we are not. Whether you are new or have been our podcast peeps since 2018, we are thrilled you found us. Happy Monday, preschool peeps.
Hi, peeps.
Welcome back to a topic that kind of relates to last week. So if you didn't listen to last week, highly encourage, though these can stand alone. It's not a part one, part two
Very
thing.
true.
Right?
That is true.
It's not like when I'm binging something on my streaming services, and if I didn't see the first episode, then I don't know what's happening. It's not like that. You can do this one independently. You can do last week's independently. But if you put them all together, I think you're going to see a path.
It all adds up. Yes.
Yeah, it definitely does all add up.
Yeah.
But before we do that, before we start to lay more bricks on that path, go ahead, Allison.
We're builders now. Okay. We are shouting out the people of Oman. So hello, everybody there. And also the people of Daphne, Alabama.
Thank you for being our preschool peeps. Please tell your friends and neighbors to come on and be part of it.
Yeah.
Be part of the wave of how preschool teachers do it. And please tell them to tell families to listen to or watch on YouTube last week and this week, because this is applicable to both early childhood professionals and families in a way that sometimes our episodes, I will admit, lean more one way or another.
That is true.
But we're not leaning this time. We're talking about everybody, because I've seen what we're going to talk about happen in professional settings as well as homes.
Yes.
And I think we just have to shout it out. You know, sometimes I like to be careful about, I'm always careful about what I say. I do my best to not put people on the defensive.
Yeah.
To recognize that different cultures have different ways of doing things. I try really hard to be as inclusive as I'm capable of being, I think.
Right.
This week, however,
oh boy,
I'm calling it out. I'm calling it out.
Yeah.
Because Allison and I have run across things out in the world, information, articles, memes, all sorts of things about this recently.
Yeah.
Because more information is coming out of the world of people who help people who have trauma reactions.
Yes.
Right? So out of the world of helping people who have experienced trauma comes the information that those of us who come from generations of families who believed in letting children cry it out and not comforting them and not going to them have created trauma and a trauma response in us that causes us to separate from our emotions, not know how to handle them, have them become bigger than they are. And I have to tell you, I've been doing
so true.
Okay, bigger than they are. So
bigger than they are.
I have to tell you, I've been using, some of you know, because we've talked about it, I think, on the podcast. I've been using this AI journal, which is really, it's pretty good.
Too. It's great.
It's great, right? It's pretty good. It doesn't replace a human coach,
but it definitely supplements.
It's
great.
I work with someone, and I feel like it, because all coaches need coaches, and all therapists need therapists, and all that, and all professionals need professionals to help guide them.
Yes.
And I feel like it gives me more food for thought to talk to the human about.
Yes.
So
it frames it in a way.
It does frame it.
Now I could talk to my therapist about this because it's framed in my head a different way, rather than, and it makes the therapy sessions more productive.
It does. Yes. So at any rate, getting back to what we were talking about oversized emotions. Even the artificial intelligence pointed out to me once that sometimes my worry is oversized because of my childhood. That people who come from our generations of families whom, hey, you could have the best family in the whole world that you grew up with. You believe they're the best family in the whole world, and that's wonderful for you. They are from a generation that was taught, let the child cry it out or you're spoiling them. You can't spoil a child with love. You just can't. No. And so the AI software pointed out that sometimes my emotional reactions are too big. They're not an appropriate size because, like, I felt something. I'm trying to put this in a way people understand. Bear with me.
Yeah.
I felt something as a child that was not addressed. And so that feeling just becomes bigger and louder and bigger and louder until it is so huge that you have no choice but to think about it and address it.
It's so huge it becomes crippling.
Yes.
Because
because your body's trying to warn you of danger.
Yes.
And your brain is trying to warn you of danger.
Yes.
You know, I think of the infants who sometimes people say, just let them cry it out. Well, that crying becomes louder and louder and louder and more insistent because the emotion is getting bigger, 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 bigger.
Yeah.
Because nobody's helping this child.
Helping him. Yeah.
The same thing happens with my cat, frankly. If
Correct.
if she meows at me and I go, meow it out, girl, meow it out. I'm not, her meowing has become more insistent. She's going to start tugging on my pants.
Right.
The emotions get bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger until you're like an adult who has these huge emotions. And actually it was this AI journal that said to me, try this. Try thanking your brain and body for trying to protect you. Recognize what it's doing. Say thank you for trying to protect me. I have better tools now.
Oh, that's so smart.
Right?
Wow, I need
artificial
that.
intelligence.
Yeah, I know, because I've been going through something like that too, and
thank you. You say thank you.
So I might need to employ this method.
Not to try and shove it. You know, I tend to be somebody who takes those big emotions and wants to shove it down. Why? Because that's what I was taught to do as a child.
Right.
Right?
Right.
I sent something about this to my sisters. And one of my sisters responded with, okay, I think Stop Crying or I'll Give You Something to Cry About was worse. And I said to her, oh, I talk about that all the time when I give speeches and when I teach teachers and when I teach families, especially when I'm doing family coaching. I'm always like, stop crying or I'll give you something to cry about. And my sister and I were communicating about how we both at some point said to our parents, well, I have something to cry about. And that was ignored.
Right. Well, yeah.
So it was their generation.
Yes.
They didn't know what we know today. When you know better, you must do better.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So this combination of let them cry it out and stop crying or I'll give you something to cry about just ramps up our emotional response. It ramps up the amygdala in your brain because the amygdala is trying to protect you.
Right.
And so we must recognize it as protection. Personally, it would be lovely, I think, if children didn't have to do that, didn't have to say to their brain and their body, hey, thanks for protecting me, but I have better ways of dealing with this now.
Right. I just want to point out that this is stuff that happened in our childhood, which was a long time ago, and we're still...
What are you trying to say?
I'm saying I'm old, okay? I'm saying I'm old. That people in their 40s, 50s, 60s are still recovering from stuff that happened when we were children, which was like 40 years ago.
Because it caused...
That's how deep this is.
It caused, and I'm going to look up this word, according to the research, it caused disassociation, and I'm not spelling it right.
It's probably a Y. D-Y,
no,
maybe?
No. It's, look, everybody bear with me. Disassociation. Disassociation, when you look it up, it says it's a mental process during which a person disconnects from their thoughts, feelings, memories, or sense of identity. It is triggered by stress or trauma. And so we attempt, instead of admitting we're having an emotion and knowing how to deal with it, from the time we were very young, when they let us cry it out in a crib as an infant, we started to try to separate from this hard feeling because no one is helping us with it.
Or you can't function, right? Like, because if you were just stuck in that crying state forever because nobody's helping you, you can't live.
You need to, like you need to like separate from it. And, you know, there are, of course, much more drastic forms of dissociation. But, you know, just trauma is a real thing, and it can be caused in these ways that people didn't always recognize.
Yeah.
You know, it's the excessive anxiety, worry can be a trauma response going back to way before you can remember.
Yes.
Because of what people did and said. So if we bring that into today, I think the question for us is, why are some of us still hanging on to this idea that the child must cry it out, that you must ignore the child? You're creating trauma.
Yeah. But like, my mother says, oh, but you're spoiling them.
You cannot,
okay?
no.
But you can't. Like,
no.
Okay,
Milk spoils, meat spoils, children don't spoil.
Them to meet their needs. That's not spoiling them. Why do they have that attitude?
And what did we say last week? We said from 0 to 2 years old, you represent safety. Yes. If you are not representing safety, then you are representing the opposite of safety, which is I am never safe.
Right.
Which then carries all the way through into adulthood. I am never safe.
That's kind of how I feel sometimes, that I'm never emotionally safe. I think...
I feel like it's a lot of us.
Emotionally
it's not
safe, and I'm constantly worried about.
It's a lot
everything.
of us.
Yeah, like I shouldn't feel like that at the age I'm at now. Like I'm better, way better than I was. But like, how sad is that? That it could have been prevented.
I've spoken to a lot of people who were raised by parents of that generation, and they, so many people, relate to what I'm saying when I say this about crying it out and stop crying or I'll give you something to cry about. So many nod when I say it.
Yep.
So many throw their hands in the air like, that was terrible.
Yeah.
Not everyone. Some people didn't have that, but back then it was more common to have been raised that way in many cultures and places. And so many people relate to it. And when I've said to people who obviously relate to it or tell me, oh yeah, that was my life.
That's it. Yeah.
I'll look at them and say something like, they were quite a generation of parents, weren't they? And they like throw their hands in the air and they're like, oh my goodness, they knew nothing.
Yeah, they knew nothing.
They knew nothing. Today we know.
We know now. Yeah.
So we have to, I feel like this is one of those things that it's like, okay, we didn't know. Now we know.
Right.
We have to admit that what was done before that seemed to work, all it did was create a trauma response.
Right.
It seemed to work because maybe the crying stopped. You know why the crying stopped? Because you disassociated.
Yeah.
And that's not mentally healthy.
Or you learn, like, I'm not going to cry next time because it doesn't work.
It doesn't work. It doesn't matter how I feel.
It doesn't get me what I need. It doesn't matter how I feel.
The message is, it doesn't matter how I feel. It doesn't matter the world how I feel. There is no safe place for me.
Yep.
So I'm going to take these emotions and I'm going to compartmentalize them somewhere in my psyche, and they're going to be in there just like I think of these emotions in a box, fighting against the box to get out. And when they do get out, they are out of control.
They're out of control. Yes.
And it can be from, if you're listening to this and you're like, yeah, I tend to over worry, or I tend to worry about things that never are going to happen, or
I will make up stories in my head.
Yeah, it's all made up.
All of a sudden I think it's true, and it's not. It's true.
It's all made up. And why did your brain make it up? To protect you, because you don't have any other way to feel safe.
Right.
We didn't learn basic safety. I don't know how else to put it. I
don't think we learned basic emotional
intelligence. Maybe is the word we're grasping for.
Yeah.
We didn't learn basic emotional intelligence because of the generations that we come from.
Yeah.
And so I think my cat right now is trying to read the places we shout out. Sorry, we got distracted.
Yeah.
So I think it's really important that if anybody listening or watching us right now still hanging on to just let them cry it out, I want you to really just please think about it. I can't change your mind. I know that. I recognize that I cannot change your mind. Please think about it. Please look it up. Yeah. And don't look it up to try and find what supports your opinion. Look up the trauma of it. Look up from reputable sources.
Yes.
And let's do all we can to not increase the trauma for young children, and to teach them your emotions are valid. It's okay to be sad. It's okay to be frustrated. It's okay to be all the things you are. And we are your safe people. So we're going to help you manage that from birth all the way through adulthood, folks,
Yes.
because I'm here to tell you, as a parent of adult children, it never stops, that you're helping them to manage all this in some way.
Right.
Because it's huge. Emotions can really take us over.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Okay, the let them cry it out thing needs to stop. And I said in the beginning of the episode I was just going to say it, so here it is. Stop letting them cry it out. It doesn't work and it creates harm.
Yeah.
It's dangerous to them.
40 years of trauma.
Trauma.
Yeah.
Multiple decades of trauma. So please stop and think and know that it's okay if what was done with you doesn't get done with the next generation. It doesn't have to pass on.
Correct.
Everybody, I think you have to, like, especially if it's cultural belief, you have to take a deep breath and think, where is the evidence? The evidence today shows that that does harm.
Yes.
That is the evidence. So I hope that you will ponder this and return to us next time when we're going to talk about something a little different.
Yes.
But again, very applicable.
Very related.
Very applicable to both professionals and families.
Yes.
This must be. I'm deciding the month of May is. Let's give equal information for families and professional caregivers. Right.
I also feel like it's like our emotional month. We've talked a lot about how to help people through their emotions.
That's okay.
Yeah. I think that's a good thing. I think we need more of that.
Yeah,
clearly,
absolutely.
Look,
So we'll
we're
see
the
you.
results of that.
We'll see you, or you'll hear us next week for another episode. And then the week after that is a holiday here in the United States. It's Memorial Day. So we're going to do what we preach, and we're going to take a little break and do a rewind. But you'll come for the rewind on Memorial Day, which is, I believe, the 25th, which is my son's birthday.
Oh, fun.
Yeah. So please make sure you stay with us every week. Subscribe. Like. Comment. Hopefully good comments. 5 stars. We're always after 5 stars. And if you don't go to YouTube, I'm going to ask you to please do that and just like and subscribe, because it helps our algorithms. And I know people do it every time I say it. So there you go. All right, preschool peeps. Catch you next time.
Bye, peeps.